Hello everyone, welcome to Reddit Reacts, where real humans react and read to Reddit content. Today's Ask Reddit question we're going to be responding to is people who have left the United States to live in a different country. Are you glad that you left? Why? What made you leave? And I picked this question because I left the United States to live in Nicaragua about 3 or 4 years ago. Granted, though, I'm not a great example because I wasn't born in the US. I was born in Sri Lanka, and I was raised by expats, a British person and an American person. I had a kid, and I was that kid, and they had that kid in a foreign country. If that makes any sense. So I was always a foreigner. So it was a lot easier for me to live in a different country because that's what my childhood is, living amongst people who I am not alike. That's my life. So that made it easier. That being said, I think it's something everybody needs to do. Like, really, if you haven't seen if you haven't built biases and preconceptions about other parts of the world and then shattered those by challenging them and confronting them, then most of the things you think about the rest of the world are just gobbledygook and nonsense. It's not until you actually visit a place and you not even visit there and tour there, but you spend some time there, you talk to people who live there. That's when you know what it's really like. That's when you get to know a sense of the people. It's hard to find that. Alright, so the first reply is by Andromeda321. I am from the United States and moved to the Netherlands about 3 years ago for my PhD in astronomy. I did this because I love to travel and decided living abroad would be a great adventure. Plus, more like traveling all the time. Applied to programs across all Europe that were in English, and my current one worked out. I love it here. I do research and I couldn't do in the USA with diverse colleagues. I get paid and treated as a civil servant instead of a student. My house is older than the US is as a country. I can go to Paris for the weekend, and it's 3.5 hours by train or wherever else for the weekend. And my advisor gets upset if I don't take my full vacation time each year of 5 weeks. It's great. I do, of course, miss my friends and family back home, and our nature and national parks. The Dutch do many things well, but wilderness is not one of them. I wish we could have more wilderness, but there are just too many people on too little land. We already made more land, but it's still too crowded. Maybe you should visit Scandinavia at some point to see more nature. It's awesome and not too far away. I moved from Long Beach, California to Istanbul, Turkey 6 months ago to work on the planning department at a cargo port. It's been fun and a huge learning experience since I've always wanted to try living in a culture other than my own. I feel I've obtained such a larger perspective of the world and realized how truly isolated we are in the US. That being said, I have a feeling my experience is going to be pretty different than a lot of other writing here. I really miss the United States. I think it takes a specific kind of person to be able to live abroad their whole lives, because when I'm here, I feel it's pretty impossible to create the same close relationships I was able to in my own language and culture. I don't think anyone truly understands the subtleties of who I am. I greatly respect anyone who can do it, but I'm beginning to realize it's not quite for me. That's kind of what I was getting at. It's that if you have spent your whole life in one place, it's very hard to get out of the mentality that you're different because you're a foreigner. Whereas if you've been a foreigner your whole life, it's easier to think, oh, it doesn't matter that I'm different because I'm a foreigner. Does that make any sense? Like when I first came to Nicaragua, for example, I came here. I didn't have any intention of moving, but I was previously looking at Thailand because a bunch of e-commerce people lived in Thailand, and the cost of living in Thailand and Nicaragua is like identical. It's really cheap, way cheaper than the US. But I never thought about Nicaragua. But then I came to Nicaragua, and it just blew my mind how much cheaper it can be. And when you earn money online, it's the difference between, like, what if you could overnight do one thing that tripled the amount of money you earn? Would you do it? That's what moving does. If you earn money online and you move from a really expensive country like the USA to somewhere cheaper like Nicaragua. And that's what I did. But I can't say that it was easy. Like, it was definitely hard at first because of the loneliness and because you think that, oh, it's not going to work because I can't communicate easily. I'm not going to meet these people, yada, 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 yada. It's all bullshit. Because the reality is every country in the world has loads of different people, and there is a degree of diversity, and there's people who are looking for foreigners, and they're interested in foreigners. And you can come here and tell yourself, oh, I'm just a gringo, everyone just wants money from me, and that's what you'll find. Or you can come here and tell yourself, oh, I'm a human living with these other humans, and when I'm around these other people from Nicaragua, the police treat them better, and other people of authority are nicer to the locals if I'm next to them. So, like, yeah, is that fake? Yeah, it's totally fake. But does it result in local people being treated better? Yeah, it does. So, it's complicated. Totally complicated. But I agree with what this person's saying. It's not easy. I think it's what everyone needs to do, but it's kind of like, get this, it's what you need to do to know what you want. And maybe what you want is to live in the US. That's fine. But you got to know that, not doubt it, right? And for me, I went to live in Nicaragua for 9 months, and then I was like, oh, I feel a little sad. I feel like I'm lonely. I feel like, oh, I can't really talk to people. I don't relate to people because I can't speak Spanish that well. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. And then I go back to the US, and guess what? I feel the same fucking way, even though I speak fluent English and I can hear everything everyone's saying out in public. And there's no excuses to not meet people aside from myself, which ultimately is always the problem. So for me personally, I needed to come to the foreign place, stay there for a while, miss my home, go to what I thought was my home, and realize that it hadn't changed at all and I wasn't happy there. And then I was super happy just being in Nicaragua. So I needed to go through that phase. And I know a couple people who also needed something like that. So again, food for thought when you want to live overseas. I think the problem is you should have moved to Constantinople and then been a long time. Oh, wow. Song quote. I'm having a similar problem to you, but in the complete opposite situation. I moved from Indonesia to the US, and I can say there are a lot of barriers you have to go through to make close friends with people of different cultures. Making friends in the US is quite easy, but making really close, like best friend, close friends, is quite hard. I love it. A foreigner saying they're having the same problem. See, that's the recurring theme for me is when you've spent your whole life in one place. Like if you have lived in your hometown your whole life and you're like 19, 30, 20, whatever, you're going to be like, man, F my hometown. That shit's boring. But meanwhile, people from Paris are feeling the same way. They're like, man, fuck Paris. I hate this shit. I hate the fuck Eiffel Towers. Why does everyone care about the Eiffel Tower? And it's just funny that we all act like, oh, if I lived where you lived, it'd be easy. But in reality, when we're in the other person's shoes, we do the same shit they do. I've also been informed via my German language classes that universities there are incredibly cheap compared to that of most of them here. Certain universities in Germany will offer free tuition to foreign exchange students, and the amount of vacation, days, sick days, paid leave sounds magnificent. Maternity leave is better there too. Huh. Yeah, this isn't bullshit. Germany will actually give you a free degree if you go live there and then work there. That's real, so that's just there's tons of opportunities in the world, guys. Like really, when it comes to opportunities, if you think that the opportunities are something that comes slowly in life and you have to jump on your opportunity when you get it because you're never going to get it again, that's a bullshit movie philosophy. That's not how it actually works. The way it actually works is you are surrounded and immersed in opportunity from the internet. And you either choose to admit that that's true and take responsibility for your own life and fix your problems, or you act like it's not true that you could use the internet to change anything in your life, and you continue to complain and bitch and moan and get jobs for other people for the rest of your life. Yeah. That was my main complaint about Berlin, too. The one Mexican restaurant within walking distance put canned corn in everything. On the whole, I just missed the hell out of the US. I wasn't going to be able to continue her dream job outside of Berlin, with occasional trips to Scandiland and London. So we split, and I never wound up living there permanently. It was pretty cool, but wasn't for me. All right, everybody, that's everything for now. Thanks for watching. If you want to make this kind of content where you read, react, respond to stuff online while you record your screen and run your YouTube channel that way, please reach out to us. We want to have a call with you on Zoom. You can get our email address by going to our About page, clicking Contact Us, doing the CAPTCHA code, and sending us an email. Say hello. We want to talk to you on Zoom. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Ciao!